The world tilted when Elias whispered the truth he'd buried for years. In the dim glow of a San Francisco cafe, with rain streaking the windows like tears, he leaned across the table and told his best friend, "Caleb, I'm gay." 3 words, raw and trembling, shattered the dam he'd built around his heart. Caleb's green eyes widened, but his grin didn't falter. "Dude, that's huge. I'm proud of you." He reached out, squeezing Elias's hand, his calloused fingers warm and steady. For the first time in forever, Elias felt like he could breathe. They'd been inseparable since high school, 2 misfits who'd survived small-town Ohio and chased dreams to the West Coast. Caleb, the reckless artist with a knack for trouble, and Elias, the quiet illustrator who saw stories in every shadow. This moment, this confession, was supposed to stay between them, a sacred secret in their unshakable bond. But by morning, Elias's truth was no longer his own. Elias woke to his phone buzzing like a hornet's nest. Notifications flooded the screen: Instagram, Twitter, texts from numbers he didn't recognize. His heart sank as he opened a blurry photo of him from last night, his face pale and earnest. Captioned, "When you come out to your bestie, but he's already planning the pride float." The post had thousands of likes, retweets, and comments, some supportive, others cruel. His stomach churned. How? Who? The cafe had been nearly empty. Just them and a barista wiping down counters. He scrolled, each meme worse than the last. One showed his face photoshopped onto a rainbow billboard with the words, "Guess who's out," and loud. Another had a mocking gif of him crying, labeled, "When your secret's not so secret anymore." His hands shook as he dialed Caleb, who picked up on the first ring. "Eli, what's wrong?" Caleb's voice was groggy but concerned. "Have you seen this?" Elias's voice cracked. "My face is everywhere. Someone leaked it." Silence stretched on the other end. "What? How?" "I didn't, Eli. I swear. I didn't tell anyone." "Then who did?" Elias snapped, his fear morphing into anger. "You were the only one there." "I don't know." Caleb's voice rose, defensive. "Maybe someone overheard. That barista was sketchy, right? Kept looking at us." Elias wanted to believe him. Caleb was his rock, the guy who'd punched a bully for him in 10th grade, who'd stayed up all night helping him finish art school applications. But doubt crept in like poison. The photo was too clear, too perfectly timed. Someone had been close. "I'm coming over," Caleb said. "We'll figure this out." Elias's apartment was a cramped studio in the Mission District, walls covered in sketches of cityscapes and half-finished portraits. When Caleb arrived, his leather jacket damp from the drizzle, he looked as shaken as Elias felt. They sat on the sagging couch, scrolling through the deluge of posts. The memes had spread to TikTok now, with strangers stitching videos of themselves reacting to Elias's coming-out moment. Some called him brave. Others mocked his vulnerability. Each notification felt like a knife twisting deeper. "This is my fault," Elias whispered, staring at his phone. "I should have kept my mouth shut." "No," Caleb said fiercely. "You don't get to blame yourself. Whoever did this is the problem, not you." Elias looked at him, searching for the truth in those familiar green eyes. Caleb's sincerity was disarming, but the betrayal stung too much. "You're sure you didn't accidentally say something? Post something?" Caleb's jaw tightened. "Eli, I'd never do that to you. You know me." But did he? Elias thought of the countless times Caleb had shared their adventures online, impulsive posts from late-night diner runs or street art hunts. Caleb lived for the spotlight, always chasing likes and followers. What if he'd let something slip, even unintentionally? "I need to know who did this," Elias said, standing abruptly. "I can't just sit here while my life blows up." Caleb nodded, grabbing his phone. "Let's go back to the cafe. Maybe they've got cameras or something." The cafe, a cozy spot called Brew and Muse, was busier than the night before. The barista, a lanky guy with a nose ring named Theo, remembered them. "Yeah, you two were here late," he said, wiping down the espresso machine. "Didn't see anyone else, though. Just you, me, and some dude in the corner on his laptop." Elias's heart raced. "What dude?" Theo shrugged. "Didn't get a good look. He paid cash and left right after you guys." Caleb and Elias exchanged a glance. A stranger with a camera. It didn't add up. Elias's mind spiraled. Maybe it was someone from their past. Someone who'd followed them from Ohio, harboring a grudge. Or worse, someone closer. As they stepped outside, the city felt different, like it was watching him. Rainbow flags lined the street, symbols of pride that now felt like spotlights on his exposed heart. Caleb put a hand on his shoulder. "We'll find them, Eli. I promise." But promises were fragile, and Elias was starting to wonder if trust was too. The San Francisco fog rolled in thick that afternoon, cloaking the city in a haze that mirrored Elias's thoughts. He and Caleb walked the streets near Brew and Muse, retracing their steps from the night before, hoping for a clue, anything to explain how his private moment had become a public spectacle. Every glance from a passerby felt like judgment. Every phone raised a potential threat. They stopped at a corner where a mural of vibrant flowers bloomed across a brick wall. Elias clutched his sketchbook, a habit from years of finding comfort in art when words failed. "What if it was someone we know?" he said, voice low. "Someone who wanted to hurt me." Caleb kicked a pebble, his jaw tight. "Who'd do that? You're the least hateable guy I know." Elias didn't answer. His mind churned with names: old classmates, jealous rivals from art school, even his conservative uncle who'd cut contact when Elias moved to California. But none fit the puzzle. The photo was too intimate, taken from a table away, capturing the exact moment his voice had broken. "Let's check socials again," Caleb suggested, pulling out his phone. "Maybe there's a pattern in who's sharing it." They sat on a bench, scrolling through the chaos. The original post came from an anonymous account, at Truth-Teller SF, created just hours before the meme went viral. The profile was bar no bio. No followers. Just that damning photo. Elias's stomach twisted as he read the comments. He looked so scared, LOL. And bet his friend sold him out for clout. The accusation stung, especially because he'd thought the same about Caleb. "I'm gonna message this creep," Caleb said, typing furiously. "Hey, asshole, who are you? Why'd you do this to my friend?" Elias grabbed his wrist. "Don't. What if they post more? What if they have? Worse?" Caleb's eyes softened. "Worse how? Eli, talk to me." Elias looked away, the weight of his fear pressing down. Coming out to Caleb had been his first step toward living authentically. But now he felt exposed, like the world had ripped off his armor. I wasn't ready for everyone to know. Not like this." Caleb's hand hovered, then settled on Elias's shoulder. "I get it. And I'm sorry this happened. But you're not alone. Okay. We're in this together." The words were warm, but doubt lingered. Elias wanted to believe Caleb. But the timing, the angle of the photoid, all pointed to someone close. He pulled out his sketchbook, flipping to a blank page, and started drawing the cafe's layout from memory. If we can figure out where they were sitting, maybe we can narrow it down. Back at Elias's apartment, they spread out the sketch on the coffee table. Elias had marked every table, every exit, every angle. "The photo was taken from this corner," he said, pointing to a spot near the window. "They had to be close enough to hear me." Caleb frowned. "That's near where that laptop guy was. Theo said he left right after us." Elias's pencil froze. What if it wasn't random? What if they followed us? Caleb's face darkened. "You think someone's targeting you?" "I don't know. Elias's voice cracked. But this feels personal. Like they wanted to humiliate me. Caleb stood, pacing. Okay, let's think. Anyone who's been weird with you lately? Exes? Co-workers? Anyone? Elias shook his head. His life was small work at a graphic design firm, late-night sketching. And Caleb? He hadn't dated much. Too scared of rejection to try. But there was one person, Mara, a coworker who'd always seemed too curious about his personal life. She'd asked pointed questions about his type and teased him about being single. Could she have been at the cafe? Unnoticed. Let's check her socials, Elias said, grabbing his laptop. Mara's Instagram was public, filled with artsy photos of San Francisco. Nothing suspicious. But one post from last night showed a coffee cup with Brew and Muse's logo. The caption read, "Late night vibes. Secrets in the air." Elias's heart sank. She was there. Caleb leaned over, staring at the screen. That doesn't prove anything. Lots of people go to that cafe. But the timing. Elias's voice trembled. What if she heard me? What if she took the photo? Caleb's expression hardened. Then we confront her. Tomorrow. At your office. We'll get answers. The next morning, Elias barely slept, his dreams haunted by faceless figures snapping photos. At the design firm, a sleek office in Soma, he spotted Mara at her desk, her bright red hair unmistakable. She smiled when she saw him, but it felt too wide, too knowing. Hey, Elias, she called. Heard you had a big night. His blood ran cold. What do you mean? She laughed, oblivious to his tone. Oh, you know, the cafe vibes. Saw you and Caleb there. You guys looked intense. Elias's hands clenched. Did you take a picture? Mara's smile faltered. What? No. Why? Caleb stepped forward, his voice low. Someone posted a photo of Elias from last night. It's all over the internet. And you were there. Mara's eyes widened. Whoa. Hold on. I was just grabbing coffee. I didn't take any photos. I swear. Elias wanted to believe her, but the coincidence was too much. As he turned away, his phone buzzed with a new notification, a direct message from @TruthTellerSF. Want the truth? Meet me at Golden Gate Park. 6 p.m. Come alone. The message from @TruthTellerSF burned in Elias's mind as he stood at the edge of Golden Gate Park, the evening air cool and sharp. The park was alive with joggers, dog walkers, and couples strolling under the eucalyptus trees. But Elias felt like he was stepping into a trap. He'd told Caleb he needed to clear his head alone, hiding the truth about the meetup. If Caleb was innocent, Elias didn't want to drag him into danger. If he wasn't, Elias couldn't face that yet. The message had specified a bench near the Shakespeare Garden, a quiet spot tucked away from the main paths. Elias's sketchbook was tucked under his arm, a flimsy shield against his racing heart. He scanned the area, expecting a shadowy figure, but saw only a young woman with short blonde hair, sitting on the bench, scrolling on her phone. You, Elias? She asked, looking up. Her voice was casual, but her eyes were sharp, like she was sizing him up. He nodded. Wary. Are you? Truth teller. She smirked, pocketing her phone. Name's Riley. Yeah, I posted the photo. Before you freak out, hear me out. Elias's fists clenched. You humiliated me. You took my private moment and made it a circus. Riley held up her hands. I know. It looks bad. But I didn't mean for it to blow up like that. I was at the cafe, working on my blog. I overheard you and your friend. And I thought it was beautiful. I took the photo to share a moment of courage. Not to hurt you. Courage. Elias's voice rose. You didn't ask me. You turned my life into a meme. Riley winced. I'm an idiot. Okay. I run an LGBTQ plus blog. Small time. Mostly about local stories. I posted it thinking it'd inspire people. I didn't expect it to go viral. By the time I saw the memes, it was too late to take it down. Elias stared at her, torn between anger and disbelief. Her story made sense, but it didn't erase the damage. Why the anonymous account? Why not just talk to me? I panicked. Riley admitted. I saw the backlash and got scared. I didn't want my name tied to it. But I'm here now, trying to make it right. Elias sat on the bench, head in his hands. You don't get it. That was my moment. Mine. And now everyone knows. And half of them are laughing at me. Riley's voice softened. I'm sorry. Elias. I'll delete the post. Make a statement. Whatever you want. But some of the comments. People are inspired by you. They see you as brave. Brave. Elias laughed bitterly. I feel like a coward. I wasn't ready for this. Riley hesitated, then pulled out her phone. Look, I've got the original post here. No memes. Just your story. Want to see what people are saying. Against his better judgment, Elias took the phone. The post was simple. Just the photo of him and Caleb. With a caption, last night. I saw a guy find the courage to be himself. Here's to living your truth. The comments were a mix, some cruel, but others were heartfelt. This gives me hope to come out to my family. And thank you for sharing this moment. Elias's throat tightened. Maybe Riley hadn't meant harm, but the violation still stung. You should have asked me, he said, handing back the phone. I need time to think. Riley nodded. I get it. If you want to talk, I'm here, and I'll take it down if you say so. Elias didn't tell Caleb about Riley right away. He needed space to process, to decide if he could forgive Hero himself for trusting too easily. Back at his apartment, he sketched furiously, pouring his anger and confusion into jagged lines and shadowed faces. When Caleb called, Elias let it go to voicemail. The next day, the memes hadn't slowed. If anything, they were spreading faster, with new edits popping up hourly. Elias's boss called him into the office, her face grim. Elias, we've seen the posts. Clients are asking questions. I need to know if this will affect your work. Elias's chest tightened. It won't. I didn't ask for this. I know, she said gently. But perception matters. Take a few days. Lay low. We'll handle it. Lay low. Like he could hide from the internet. He left the office, feeling like the ground was crumbling beneath him. On the way home, he stopped at a bookstore, seeking refuge in the quiet stacks. There, he ran into Mara again, her red hair catching the light as she browsed graphic novels. Elias, you okay? She asked, concern in her eyes. You look rough. He wanted to confront her again, to demand if she'd lied about being at the cafe. But her kindness disarmed him. It's just the memes. They're everywhere. Mara's face fell. God, that's awful. I saw some of them. People are jerks. Want me to help you report them? Her offer felt genuine, but Elias's trust was fraying. Thanks, but I'm handling it. As he walked away, his phone buzzed again. Another message from @Truth Teller SF. I found something. The guy at the cafe with the laptop. He's been asking about you. Meet me tomorrow. Same spot. Elias's heart pounded as he read Riley's message again. The guy with the laptop, could he be the real culprit? Someone who'd overheard, taken the photo, and sold it to the internet's wolves. The thought made Elias's skin crawl, but it also sparked a flicker of hope. If he could find this person, maybe he could reclaim his story. He met Riley at the Shakespeare Garden again, this time under a gray sky threatening rain. She was pacing, her blonde hair tucked under a beanie. Okay, she said, skipping pleasantries. I did some digging. The laptop guy? His name's Dylan. He's a freelance photographer. Kind of a shady one. Hangs out at cafes, snaps candidates, and sells them to blogs or meme pages. Elias's stomach dropped. You think he's the one who took it? Maybe, Riley said. I saw him at Brew and Muse a few times before. Always alone. Always watching people. I asked around, and a friend of mine says he's been bragging about a big score photo that went viral. Elias's hands shook. Where is he now? Riley hesitated. I don't know exactly, but he's got a profile on a freelancer site. I found his email. We could message him. Set up a meeting. Elias nodded, though the idea of confronting a stranger made his chest tight. Do it. But I'm coming with you. They sent a carefully worded email, posing as a potential client interested in Dylan's work. To Elias's surprise, Dylan replied within hours, agreeing to meet at a diner in the Haight. Elias told Caleb he was meeting a lead but kept Riley's involvement vague. Caleb's texts were insistent, don't go alone. Eli, let me help, but Elias needed to do this himself. If Caleb was truly innocent, Elias didn't want to drag him into another mess. If he wasn't, Elias couldn't bear the confrontation yet. The diner was a retro throwback, all chrome and neon. Dylan was easy to spot, mid-30s. Wiry, with a camera bag slung over his shoulder. He smirked when he saw Elias and Riley approach, like he knew something they didn't. You're the client? Dylan asked, leaning back in the booth. Elias sat across from him, Riley at his side. Not exactly. I'm the guy in the photo you took at Brew and Muse. Dylan's smirk faltered, but only for a second. Oh, that. Yeah, I heard it went viral. Congrats. Man. Congrats. Elias's voice was ice. You took a private moment and turned it into a meme. Why? Dylan shrugged. Unapologetic. I'm a photographer. I capture moments. You and your buddy were having a real one. I sold the shot to a meme page for a couple $100. Didn't think it'd blow up like that. Elias's vision blurred with anger. You didn't have my permission. You exposed me to the world. Hey, public place. No expectation of privacy, Dylan said, sipping his coffee. Besides, you looked inspiring. People love that stuff. Riley leaned forward, her voice sharp. You're a vulture. You knew what you were doing. Dylan chuckled. Look, I'm sorry you're upset, kid. But this is how the internet works. You want control. Don't have heart-to-hearts in cafes. Elias stood, his chair scraping the floor. Delete the photo. Tell the meme pages it wasn't yours to sell. Dylan raised an eyebrow. Or what? You gonna sue me? Good luck proving damages. Riley grabbed Elias's arm before he could respond. Let's go, she whispered. He's not worth it. Outside, Elias's anger gave way to despair. He doesn't care, he said, voice breaking. No one cares. Riley's eyes softened. I care. And I'm not the only one. We'll find a way to fix this. Back at his apartment, Elias finally told Caleb everything. Riley. Dylan. The diner. Caleb's face was a storm of emotions, anger, guilt, and something deeper. Something Elias couldn't name. I should have been there, Caleb said, pacing. I could have, I don't know, done something. Elias shook his head. This isn't your fault. I need to take control of this somehow. Caleb stopped, his green eyes intense. Then let's do it. Tell your story on your terms. Make a post, a video, whatever. Show them who you are. The idea terrified Elias, but it also sparked something. He'd been running from the spotlight, but maybe he could use it. That night, he sat at his desk, sketchbook open, and started drafting a post. Not a meme, not a photo stolen from him, but his words, his truth. Elias's fingers hovered over the keyboard, his heart a drumbeat in his chest. The blank document stared back, daring him to reclaim his narrative. Caleb sat beside him, quiet but present, his presence a lifeline as Elias typed the first words. My name is Elias Torres, and I didn't choose to be a meme. The post took hours to write. Elias poured out his fear, his anger, his hope, every raw emotion that had churned since that night at Brew and Muse. He wrote about coming out to Caleb, about the betrayal of the photo, about the strangers who'd turned his vulnerability into a punchline. But he also wrote about the comments that had moved him, the ones from kids like him, scared but hopeful, searching for courage. I'm not a hero, he typed. I'm just a guy trying to live honestly. If my story helps even one person feel less alone, then maybe this was worth it. Caleb read over his shoulder, his voice soft. This is you, Eli. This is real. Elias hesitated, then hit post. The words went live on Instagram, paired with a simple sketch he'd drawn, a silhouette of himself against a rainbow sky. Within minutes, likes and comments poured in. Some were cruel, but others were kind, raw, human. A trans teen from Texas wrote, I came out to my sister because of you. A dad from Oregon said, you're teaching me how to support my son. Elias's eyes stung. Maybe this wasn't a terrible idea, he whispered. Caleb grinned, nudging him. Told you. You're stronger than you think. The post didn't stop the memes, but it shifted the conversation. Blogs picked it up, and Riley shared it on her platform, adding an apology for her role. Elias met with her again, this time at a quieter cafe, where she promised to help amplify his voice. I owe you, she said, and for the first time, Elias believed her. But not everyone was supportive. At work, a client pulled out of a project, citing distractions. Elias's boss was sympathetic but firm. Keep your personal life out of the office. The word stung, but Elias nodded, swallowing his pride. He couldn't afford to lose his job. Caleb, meanwhile, was relentless, tracking down meme pages and demanding they remove Dylan's photo. Most ignored him, but a few complied, citing Elias's post as a reason. It wasn't enough to erase the damage, but it was a start. One evening, as they walked through the Castro, rainbow flags glowing under streetlights, Caleb stopped suddenly. Eli, I need to tell you something. Elias's stomach twisted. What? Caleb looked away, his hands shoved in his pockets. I posted a photo from that night. Not the one, but us at the cafe. I didn't think it'd do any harm. I deleted it when I saw the memes. But what if someone grabbed it first? Elias froze. You posted it. Without telling me. It was just us laughing. I swear. Caleb's voice was desperate. I didn't know it'd lead to this. Elias's mind raced. Caleb's post could have been the spark. Someone could have seen it, connected the dots, and hunted for more. Why didn't you tell me? He asked, voice breaking. I was scared you'd hate me, Caleb admitted. I messed up. Eli. I'm so sorry. Elias wanted to scream, to walk away, but Caleb's eyes were wet, his hands trembling. This was his best friend, the guy who'd carried him through every storm. I don't hate you, Elias said finally, but I need time. Caleb nodded, his voice barely a whisper. I'll fix this, whatever it takes. Elias threw himself into his art, sketching late into the night. His drawings became bolder, fiercer portraits of queer joy, pain, and resilience. He posted them online, each one a piece of his heart, and the response was overwhelming. People shared their own stories, their own art, creating a ripple effect that felt bigger than the memes. But the shadow of Dylan lingered. Elias couldn't let it go. Smug photographer who'd profited off his pain. With Riley's help, he tracked down Dylan's portfolio, finding more candid shots of strangers, all sold without consent. It wasn't just Elias. Dylan was a predator, preying on private moments. We need to stop him, Elias told Riley over coffee. Not just for me, but for everyone. Riley nodded. I've got contacts at a local news blog. They love exposing creeps like this. You in? Elias took a deep breath. Yeah, I'm in. Elias and Riley met with a journalist named Aisha at a small office in the Mission. Aisha was sharp, her notebook filled with scribbled questions. So, Dylan's been selling candid photos without consent, she said, reviewing Elias's evidence. We can run a story, but it'll put you in the spotlight again. You ready for that? Elias hesitated. The memes had quieted, but they hadn't stopped. Going public could reignite the fire or it could take Dylan down. I'm ready, he said, voice steady. This isn't just about me anymore. Aisha's article dropped a week later, titled The Cost of a Stolen Moment, One Man's Fight for Privacy. It detailed Elias's story, Dylan's shady practices, and the broader issue of consent in the digital age. Riley contributed a statement, owning her mistake and calling for accountability. The response was swift. Readers shared the article, demanding action. Dylan's freelancer profile was suspended, and several meme pages issued apologies. Elias felt a weight lift, but the victory was bittersweet. He and Caleb were still on shaky ground. They'd met up a few times, but the ease of their friendship was gone, replaced by awkward silences. Elias missed the old Caleb, the one who'd make him laugh until his sides hurt, but trust was hard to rebuild. One night, Caleb showed up at Elias's apartment with a pizza and a sketchbook. I know I screwed up, he said, setting the box down, but I made something for you. Inside the sketchbook was a series of drawings Elias at the cafe, at the park, in the Castro, each moment rendered with care. The final page showed them together, laughing under a rainbow flag, with the words, "You're my brother. Always." Elias's throat tightened. You didn't have to do this. Yeah, I did, Caleb said. I need you to know I'm here, even when I mess up. Elias hugged him, the first real embrace since the memes began. We're gonna be okay, he whispered, and for the first time, he believed it. The article's impact grew. A local gallery reached out, offering Elias a spot in a queer art exhibit. He hesitated. Exposing his work meant exposing himself, but Caleb and Riley pushed him to say yes. Your art's powerful, Riley said. It's time people see it. The exhibit was a whirlwind. Elias's sketches hung alongside vibrant paintings and sculptures, each piece telling a story of identity and resilience. Strangers approached him, sharing how his post had inspired them. One teenager, barely 16, said, I'm not out yet, but your story makes me think I can be. Elias's heart swelled. Maybe the memes had torn him open, but they'd also given him a voice. He glanced at Caleb, who was chatting with Riley across the room, and felt a flicker of hope. Their friendship wasn't perfect, but it was real. As the night wound down, Elias stepped outside, the cool air a relief. Riley joined him, her beanie pulled low. You did good, she said. This is just the start. Elias smiled. A real one this time. Thanks for helping me get here. Riley grinned. Anytime. Just, maybe no more cafe confessions. Yeah. They laughed, the sound carrying into the night. Months passed, and the memes faded, replaced by Elias's growing presence as an artist and advocate. His Instagram became a space for queer stories. His sketches paired with captions about love, loss, and resilience. He spoke at local events, sharing his journey with nervous kids and supportive allies. Each time he told his story, it hurt a little less. Caleb was there through it all, rebuilding trust one day at a time. They started a new tradition, Sunday mornings at a different cafe. No phones, just sketchbooks and coffee. They talked about everything: art, dreams, the future. One day, Caleb admitted, I was scared I'd lose you. Not just as a friend, but you're my family. Elias smiled. his heart full. You're not getting rid of me that easy. The city felt like home again. The rainbow flags weren't spotlights anymore. They were promises. Elias still carried his sketchbook everywhere. But now it was filled with hope portraits of people he'd met. Moments he'd lived. Truths he'd claimed. One evening, as he walked through the Castro, he saw a new mural, a vibrant depiction of a crowd under a rainbow sky. Faces alight with joy. His own face was there. Subtle but unmistakable. Woven into the tapestry of the community. He didn't know who'd painted it. But it felt like a gift, a reminder that his story, once stolen, now belonged to something bigger. Elias stood there, the city humming around him, and felt whole. The memes had tried to break him, but instead, they'd built him. He was out. He was proud. And he was never alone.